Hello, everyone. It's your friend Phil here, project management trainer and coach. I hope you're doing awesome. Welcome to today's touch point. This is where I touch base with our students just to find out how they're doing, how their studying is going. I'm currently outdoors, so this is going to be a bit of a noisy one for some of you that have super sensitive microphones, or should I say headphones on your computers. But I hope you're doing awesome, and I hope your studying is coming along well. We had a friend of ours hop off the call a few seconds ago, Stephanie, who wanted to invite a couple of people. I appreciate that, Stephanie. Now I know which Stephanie that was. But thanks for stopping by, Stephanie, if you are somehow still listening to this. But our other friends out there, if you wanted to call in and have a conversation, we've got the number for you to do that right there in the chat. We got one of our friends, Shri, who is on the webinar. Those of you who are part of the Savage on Saturday, you can join the webinar so that you can make it more interactive for yourself. So if you are one of our students, Savage on Saturday, you know where to find the link to join the webinar. Go to the group, look right there at the top of the group, and you should be able to join the webinar, all right? So welcome. I'm not going to take too much of your time, but I really just wanted to find out how your studying is coming along. So our friend Shri, how is your studying coming along, Shri? What's going on with your study? Is it coming along well? Today, I'm going to be sharing with you next steps after you get certified, okay? Or after you get bootcamp minted. Some of you go through the boot camp, but you're not entirely minted. You're not, you don't have the stamp of approval from your instructor. In our case, a lot of us went through the boot camp, but looking at the performance on the different learning management systems, I can tell that you've been through the boot camp, but you still got a little bit more to do. Some of you, a lot more to do before you think of facing the exam. And that's pretty much what I want to share with you guys. Now that you've been through the boot camp, what should happen next? Shri says, slowly and securely. That's good. I'm glad you're progressing slowly but surely. You're progressing really well. I mean, I took a look at your performance, Shri, on the mini mock exam. And I think on the first try, I think yours was the highest score on the first try in this group, this particular group. So I would just suggest keep doing what you're doing, keep going, keep moving along. But I'm going to be giving you some more definite ideas as to what I think you should be doing after your boot camp, okay? So I'm going to share some steps with you over here on the screen, and I hope this gives you some motivation to do certain things that you may not have been doing, all right? So sorry, I'm on mute. This may be very peculiar to our students, but I would expect any good learning system to have this stuff, okay? This is I could call it a checklist of things that you need to do to really feel secure and ready for the exam after your boot camp, okay? So a lot of people come to the boot camp and they have not done this one very important thing. I know I say it all the time, but I want to challenge you. Have you done it? Have you opened up the book we're always talking about? The PMBOK guide, have you opened it up and done this, okay? Process by process. I'm not talking about chapter by chapter. Don't think chapter. Now you need to think process, okay? And I want you to think of process out of order. I want you to think about the processes out of order, okay? Don't do it in order, okay? Don't do it in order. Some of you say, oh, I've done it before, I've read the book. But I want to challenge you. Have you really done it? Do you know the payoff, the massive, massive rewards that you could get if you study process by process out of order? I've said this so many times, you know, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I'm not seeing the fruit of what I'm telling people to do. See, I tell people, read the book. I'm talking about the PMBOK guide. I'm not talking about your study guide, okay? PMBOK guide. Process by process. Let me give you a few ideas here really quick. And I'm sorry if you're hearing some scratching on the screen. I don't have my typical setup, so I'm actually writing on the screen. So you're bound to hear some microphone scuffling around, but let me try and go on mute while I do this. But as you study process by process out of order, let me show you a few things to look out for, okay? Okay, so I want to challenge you. Those of you who have been for training, you've been for boot camp, I want you to have a notebook, solid notebook, not one of those flimsy ones, a notebook that will remind you that you are on a mission. You're on a mission, okay? So notebook, solid notebook with a hard front, hard back, that has got to become gold for you. You got to build, chart your course with this notebook, okay? In that notebook, I want you to go process by process, and I'm going to show you an idea of the order that I want you to go in, but definitely don't go in a linear order. That's not what I want. I want you to make those mental connections. Do you know how annoying it is for me to see people who have been sitting down for ages in the class not bringing it? They're not bringing. Let me tell you the truth. I know. I have my little radar thing that tells me when people are on the calls, or they've zoned out. You know, like when I'm sharing stuff and people are there, but they're not really there. They've gone to a different web page. Oh, they've left the computer running. I know these things because the system tells me. Phil has minimized the page. I can tell. So for those folks, you know that you were like 50% there. That's why nothing registered. How about being 100% in the moment and present? Be present, folks. Get that notebook. Make a date with the PMBOK guide. Seriously, you got to make a date. You got to put some traction into this thing, some fire into it. You got to have the greater good in the back of your mind. Some of you have forgotten why you're doing this thing. Some of you were on the session that I had 90 days ago, and you still ain't done the mock exam. You still ain't passed the mock exam. You got to get your skates on, folks. You got to get your skates on. Excuse me, I need to cough. You need to get your skates on. Stop spinning your wheels. You've been for the boot camp. You've been given direction. You've been given content. You've been given material. Make it happen. Make it happen. You got to go crazy on this stuff. You got to be obsessed, or you're going to continue to be average. You know what it means to be obsessed? Every minute of the day, you're thinking about processes. You're trying to track down stuff you don't know. Some of you are comfortable not knowing stuff. Oh, I don't know that. Okay, I'll study it another time, another time, another time. Do it now, folks. Otherwise, it's gonna fade fast. It's gonna fade fast. You need to do it now. You need to get on the bandwagon of crazy studying. Now, library, staying back in the office, getting your mug of coffee or tea. I'm not saying become a binge drinker of coffee or caffeine, but whatever you need to do to stay awake, to get it into your brain, you got to do it. Okay? This is a call to action. I need you to look, I need those of you who've been to the training, I need you to get certified in the next 30 days. I need it. Those of you who don't have any excuses. I know some people are going through certain, issues. I can understand that. We all have issues from time to time. But don't tell me work is an issue. I'm not going to buy that. Don't say, Phil, my boss said I should. No, no, no. I ain't buying it. You got to be obsessed. Weekend, I need to see you in the library or in your office at work. That's right. Leave the house. Some of you aren't obsessed enough. You need to be. So I need you to get that notebook, process by process. You need to become a professor. You need to become the Einstein of the PMBOK guide. I want you to get to the level where you're schooling me. Get to the level where you're saying, Phil, you know what? I don't think you know enough. Let me teach you, Phil. That's what I need you guys to do. Okay? I am looking for you guys to get to the level where you are schooling me. I'm not being schooled enough. You see, I'm not being schooled enough. So I got a chat in here from Shri. How many hours do you recommend reading per day? Shri, it's a great question, but it's not so much the hours. It's the level of focus, Shri. That's really what it is. Not so much the hours, but the level of focus. But if you wanted me to give you a rough estimate, I would say I don't really see any reason why people who are getting ready for the exam shouldn't be hitting at a minimum, at the very, very minimum, 2 hours at a minimum, 3 hours on an average, 4 hours to 6 hours on a great day. Because I'm telling you what I was doing. I'm not trying to give you something that I know is not achievable. I'm telling you about stuff I know you can do. I was on planes, meeting clients for project management related stuff. Before I started training with Praizion, I was managing projects for different clients across different firms. And I would have to be on the plane sometimes. Guess where I was studying? On the plane. I remember very clearly, like yesterday. I studied scheduling on the plane. In fact, majority of my forward pass, backward pass stuff, the memories I have of that is on a plane. I believe I was going to Oklahoma back then. Then I hit Ohio, all in that time frame, multiple trips, but studying on the go. You got to study on the go. Don't give me the namby-pamby excuse, folks. A lot of people give me those excuses of, oh, Phil, well, I can't study today because you're not obsessed. You're not obsessed. You got to be obsessed. You know what I want you to do? I want to challenge you. Get this notebook. All right. This is a notebook for those of you who are just joining. I want you to get a hardback notebook. Okay. And I want you to begin to document all of the 49 processes. I want you to become obsessed with the 49. I need you to become a professor. I need you to become concerned if you learned something new about a process, input, tool, technique, or output that you didn't know before. I need you to be like, wow, how did I miss that? I need you to be a sponge daily. And I need you to take daily account of where you are. Okay? So I want you to think like you're working with a schedule like this. Build your schedule. Let's say this is for develop project charter. Build your schedule. How long is this duration that you're going to use to cook? Honestly, I think you can develop project charter in 3 hours. Like cook it really good. And you know it's 6.5% of your exam. That's why you want to cook it good. So develop project charter. I expect you to target, okay, I'm going to spend 3 hours for this. Okay, then to the next one. Maybe the next one you want to study is identify stakeholders. Maybe. Then the next one you want to study, remember it's out of order. Maybe you say, okay, I'm going to jump to that validate scope and see where it's at. I want to challenge you to build yourself a schedule, project manager. You're studying for a professional project management exam and you don't have a schedule. You don't have any milestones in sight. You don't have any kill points. You don't have any handovers. You don't have any phase end reviews of what you've been working on. I would expect that ever so often, folks, you're going to have a little review, a little milestone, a little kick the tires. I talked about a sick kick last time. You got to be strategic in your testing. You got to tell yourself, okay, I'm going to give myself a test at that point. I'm going to see how many of these I can remember, or I'm going to give my PMBOK guide to my friend, my colleague, my coworker, my child, my niece, my nephew, my other half, whatever. Give them your PMBOK guide to test you, to see how many outputs you remember. Outputs are very important. And then ask them to go to the sub-level of tools and techniques. Get some accountability. Hold yourself accountable. I don't know what you're doing, seriously. I feel like pulling my hair out sometimes when I think of how much time, energy, effort, and money some of my students have put in. I'm like, you're not uncomfortable? You ate 3 square meals today, but did you eat 3 PMBOK meals of processes? No, you didn't. You're like, oh, I don't feel like it. I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, I want to watch TV. What? Hey, be obsessed. It's not even funny anymore. Be obsessed. I need you to be obsessed with getting this PMBOK guide thing down pat. Get the information into your brain. Don't rest until you're hitting out 70s, spitting out 80s, spitting out 90s on those mock exams. Do you understand? Because money is precious. You guys are spending money and you're spending time. Even more precious is the time. Do you think I want you to ramp up and get to 60 and then drop back to, oh, well, let me just drop back to 35 miles an hour? You ain't in a domestic neighborhood. This is on the 10, the I-10, the I-10 in LA. You know how they drive there. You better hit that pedal hard. You better hit that pedal hard. You better put pedal to metal, folks. Seriously, I need you to get PMP certified, and you can. Some of you are like, oh, I don't know if I should go for it this year. Why are you delaying it? Why are you pushing it? I challenge you, challenge yourself. That's the message I'm bringing tonight, folks, because I know a lot of you are too comfortable. That's why you're not gaining anything fresh or new. Let's go back to what I said. I need you. Get your notebook. Document it. I want you to be an investigator. Process name. Let's get the name straight. Stop saying goofy things like create project charter. What is create project charter? It's not create project charter. It's develop project charter. We need to get that straight. Sri said, I need tips for what next questions. If I master page 25, no, Shri, no, no, no. So I'm glad you're being honest and you're asking this question. Shri says, I need tips for what next questions. If I master page 25, can I be able to answer some of the questions? Planning processes is one thing I'm having trouble with. Thank you, Shri, for coming on. And let me just let you know, deep down, I know that you're PMP, right? Let's get that out of the way. We just need to make it a material thing because you got the brains, you got the smarts, you're really aggressive at your studying and looking to get certified. So I need you to amp it up. Let's 10x your motivation and your inspiration, right? Let's just multiply it 10 times, get more obsessed. But to answer your question, as far as what comes next, Shri, it's like this. It's like when you've got the full grandmaster plan in your head, like when you know everything about the guide, everything that you could possibly know knowledge-wise, I'm not saying every single sentence, but there are things that you don't know. Knowing those things you don't know, going for those. But when you've got a grand picture of the little bits you don't know and you've closed the gaps and, you've been honest to yourself to close those gaps, then those kind of questions, the rationale becomes easier. So would be my recipe, Sri, to answer those what comes next questions. I think I talked about this a few weeks ago. And one of the biggest problems for many people is conversion. They are not able to convert. You need to be able to convert the PMP exam speak. You need to be able to convert the PMP exam speak to PMBOK guide terms, first of all, okay? So you have to be able to convert whatever they're saying. And I've given some examples of this, how people may, in a roundabout fashion, write these PMP questions. Let me give you an example. So I'm going to open up my my electronic PMBOK guide. I'm sorry for the grainy picture. I'm not in my PMBOK habitat. I'm outdoors somewhere, so let me make do with what I've got. I just had to give you guys the message because I know we typically have class today, but classes are over. We have a new set of classes starting. Those of you who are watching, we've got a new set of classes starting on Wednesday, and that's the really, really accelerated, energized training session for people who are very, very close to the test. So those of you that haven't signed up, you want to go to pmsucceed.com and sign up, okay? Look for the power review link that's up there in pmsucceed.com and you'll be able to register. All right, but let me give you an example, Shri. All right, here's an example. Let's assume you get a question and says, you're comparing actual or planned project practices or the project's quality standards to those of comparable projects, blah, blah, blah. Which process should you do next? That is like a dead giveaway. They've immediately told you the tool and technique you're doing, and the what should you do next? It should be like, okay, I'm doing this, then I should do that. You see what I'm saying? You are a project manager on a project, you're comparing actual or planned project practices or the project's quality standards to those of comparable projects to identify best practices. What should you do next? Now that's a giveaway. I've given you too much information. I've given you a lot of information to work with. So I would expect you to say, okay, that's that process. And then what comes after that process is this. Or here are the possibilities of processes it could be. But because these are the options I've been given, it can't be that one that I'm thinking about. It's got to be the other, you see. So what I'm describing here is data gathering under plan quality management, with specific reference to benchmarking, you see. So I would expect you to say, okay, that is benchmarking. That is a tool and technique of plan quality management. The next thing to do is manage quality, or something else, depending on what the question serves you. Here's another one. You're currently using a financial tool to estimate the strengths and weaknesses of alternatives in order to determine the best alternative in terms of benefits provided. What am I talking about? You should know what I'm talking about. You should know the process that this comes in, and you should be able to select, you know, the next best thing. And this is quite advanced for people who have not, you got to dig into the details. And that's why I'm going back to this right here, because I think folks need to really begin to document these things, you know, begin to have your own little notebook right here of the processes. And I want you to plan it out like I'm showing you here. Have a schedule. Okay, how long is it going to take you to cover all of the 49 in, I'm talking about really, really great detail, to the point that if you heard something about a process, you know where it is because you've done that deep dive. So you're going to have 49 of these bars, okay? You're going to have 49 of these bars, and you're going to schedule it. Go to MS Project, schedule it out, and you're going to come up with this. So Shri, going back to your question, the more deep you get in, the more you're going to have that big landscape view of everything in your head, the more it's going to make a lot of sense to you, okay? The more it's going to make more sense to you. The more you go into the detail, the stronger that anchor is going to be. So you gotta really, really go bonkers, as we say in the UK. You gotta go bonkers on this stuff. But let's go back here. Okay, so that's an example of conversion tree. You got to get your conversion to be more solid. Okay, you got to be able to hear tool and technique and know, okay, that's the tool and technique. That's the process that it's associated with. And therefore, what comes next after that is this. Now, let me give you some further ideas about the what. Usually the what should you do next type question, Shri, a lot of times they're either going to be tied to an input, a tool and technique, or an output. That is why people have trouble on the test, because they haven't paid particular attention, especially to these ones. These ones are the worst. The tools and techniques are the worst because we don't use these tools and techniques a lot in many companies. We might use an output, but we don't use every single tool and technique there is. So it becomes hard to keep track of them. I would just say, Shri, another thing is to get good, especially with your ITTOs, okay? You got to know the tools and techniques really, really, really well. If I read you a tool and technique, you should know it. And I would just say, make flashcards for yourself of all the standard tools and techniques, okay? Those that you encounter very frequently, and those you don't. Those you don't encounter frequently, you want to keep track of those as well. So page 686 to page 693, 686 to 693, you got to know the definitions of all of those things on those pages. All of those tools and techniques, you got to get them into your head. It's one thing to sit down in a class and have them described to you. It's another thing to retain it and to be able to explain it back in alignment with the PMBOK guide in some good detail with examples, So Shri, my next step to tackle these situational questions, You got to know the process. You got to know the PMP exam is going to convert it into language. It's going to take these PMBOK guide terms and it's going to make them this that looks like gobbledygook to some people. It's going to be hard to decode, except you've really mastered the stuff like I showed you. Okay. And then your ITTOs, because they're usually tied to ITTOs. All right. The next thing, and I should make this the last thing, I would say I'll just say do not assume what the question does not say. Okay? Don't assume what the question does not say, which means you got to read the question very well. You got to make sure that they're not giving you red herrings, trying to lead you off a wild path, whereas the path you're on has nothing to do with the answer. Yeah, is it helping, Shri? I hope it is. So Shri, talking about page 25, it has its place, but it's not always page 25. Sometimes it is page 25. Sometimes the what should you do next is not page 25 specific. For example, what should you do? Should you define scope? Should you finalize your project scope statement, or should you finalize your risk register? You see, how do you answer that? In order to define scope, you do need to have identified your risks, because that could lead to additional scope. So for someone to say, oh, you always must finalize scope before you finish your risk register, they're wrong, because scope could give birth to risks. And attacking those risks in a particular way could give birth to more scope. So how do you describe that? How do you describe that? You describe that in an iterative relationship that will be like this: scope and risk. And you keep going in iterations until you're totally done. Let me show you this thing in the PMBOK guide that a lot of people miss. A lot of people miss what the PMI are trying to say. And I think this is why the PMI has gotten some bashing over the PMBOK guide. Sad to say, but the PMI make it clear here. Let me read it. It says, the key benefit of this process is that, then it lists out the key benefit of every process. Okay, so that's one of the things I said I want you guys to do. I want you to list out the benefits. Some of you haven't paid close attention to the benefits. I know the picture's gone all pixelated and funny. I look like a snowman. Let me come out of the shot for a second and try to put the picture right. But what I was saying is that in the PMBOK guide, they've got the benefits. So all of these benefits that you guys see there, they got the benefits all, listed out. And what I would like you guys to do is go through the benefits one by one, document the benefits. Document the benefits. Don't allow the benefits slip away, because some people are not paying attention to the benefits like they should. You really should be paying attention to those benefits, okay? And then after that, so I'm looking at page 277, for example, it says, this process is performed. Does it say it's performed once? No, it says, this process is performed once or at predefined points. Did you see that? Once or at predefined points in the project. So what are people missing? People are missing that it can be performed more than once. You don't just identify risks and boom, that's the end. That's not how it works, okay? That is not how it works. You do a lot of stuff in iterations, going round and round and round. That's how it works, okay? So I hope this has given you some clarity. She says, I think other than DPC and closed project, all other processes aren't done in an order. That's good. It's good to know. But when we say in an order, it's also, Yeah, it could be done in an order. It could be, some could be done in a little bit of an order, and some are not done in order on project X. On project Y, it's chaos. Nothing is in order. On project Z, there's some order, of occurrence of processes only as a result of the scope. As a result of the scope of the project and the nature of the project, you could have maybe two things being done in sequence, or you could have define activities and sequence activities. Then estimate activity duration. It could happen, it could. But on another project, it could be define activities, estimate activity resources, because the resources are going to determine the sequence. You see that? Or you could have define activities, sequence activities, estimate activity resources, not straight to estimate activity durations. So it really depends, folks. There are many permutations and combinations for this thing, okay? But Shri, you're largely correct in saying, apart from basically develop project charter, okay? In my mind, in the world of the PMI, develop project charter is a landmark that happens theoretically first. But if you really look at the nuts and bolts on a project, like let's say you want to become the vendor or subcontractor for a company, maybe they want to give the deal to you, they want to give the project to you. How about pre-assignment? Pre-assignment happens even in some cases before you win that gig. You see, before you win that deal, you could have pre-assignment taking place. You see, so if pre-assignment has taken place, people have been pre-assigned in advance. What are we talking about? Acquire resources, right? Acquire resources has sneakily happened, even before the project charter is developed. So I don't like getting into cycles and sequences. Page 25 is very good, but if the question is not saying what comes next in a knowledge area, what comes next in scope management, what comes next in schedule management, you can't assume, okay? You can't assume. Those of you just joining, if you're on the Savage on Saturday group, it's an opportunity for you to have a chat. Go to the group, savageonsaturday.com. Go to the top. I have a link to this webinar, and you'll be able to join and ask questions like Shri is asking. I have not touched base with my friends on YouTube yet. Well, I did in the beginning, but there was no one home. Let me go back and see. There's still no one home. I told you. Ain't no one home. Nobody's asking nothing because everyone's tired of the PMP. No one. Hey, do you guys want to get certified? Ask me some questions. Let me help shift you from the state you are at. Shift you from the state you're at to the state you want to be. Just like in a PMBOK guide. You want to go from current state to future state. Okay? So I need you guys, seriously speaking now, I really need you to be obsessed with getting certified and stop wasting time. Stop wasting time. Shri asked the question of how many hours a day should you be studying, and I said minimum 2. I don't know why someone wouldn't study for a minimum of 2 hours a day. It's so easy. Audio. Listen to audio. Oh, but I zone out. Train your brain. Your brain is a powerful tool. Do you know that it's processing 11 million bits of information subconsciously per second? So don't tell me you can't listen to audio. You'll be amazed at what your brain can store. I am amazed sometimes at what my brain can store. I go back and I fish things out and I'm like, how did I even remember that? Your brain is a powerful tool. So challenge it. Feed it with PMBOK guide stuff. Go to the Praizion site, get the project management audio digest. Shri, you've got that. I want you to feed your mind ad nauseum, in and out, day in, day out. I need you to do that, okay? Just taking a peek at the time here. It's coming on 6, and my time is going to run out shortly. But do what you need to do, folks. Do what you need to do. Invest in your PMP prep. Some people aren't investing in their prep. Some people are going the cheap route. And I'm not talking about people that need to conserve dollars. Some people can afford it, but they just don't value what these tools can do. You got to value what these tools can do. The Praizion site, go on there, look for audio, look for systems, go through, whenever I tell you, go get a set of videos or something, just do it. Because you could really get benefits from these things. I do the heavy lifting for you, you see. If you go to the Praizion site, this site I'm sharing right here, under training and PMP, right here, this is where all the gold is. Go there. Take a look at what you got. You got so many different pieces. You got the power review, you've got the cram list, you've got mock exams, the course. Let me just be honest with you. Some of you have not been for training. You think you went for training because you sat down in front of PowerPoint slides. Some of you didn't. Some of you went for some great courses, but a lot of people went for crummy courses. If you went for a crummy course, you got to correct it. Sign up for this one. This is our 35-hour course right here. Starts at $125. Some of you would mow this stuff down crazily. If only you knew how to get onto it. If only you knew. Some of you don't know where to get great content. I'm showing you now. Sign up for this course. It's really, really good. Even I study this course. I was part of the development, but I study it because it trains me, it helps me, it keeps me on my toes. You see, like whenever I record video, I need to get into the zone. When I'm in the zone, I'm not the typical way I am when I'm at home. That's why I need to go back to those videos to get back into that matrix zone. Have you ever written questions and you failed the questions you wrote? I have. Why did I fail my questions? Because I wasn't in the zone. This course is going to help you get into that zone, folks. Okay? Get into the zone. I see one of our friends joined. Hey, Dustin, what's up, man? How you doing? Dustin, are you hitting it hard? Are you ready for our course coming up? I trust you are ready, Dustin. I've got some really nice quizzes for you guys. At the beginning of every section, you're going to be taking a quiz. So you better be coming with your A game, Dustin. I trust you are going to be. Yeah, come on your A game. I'm going to be giving you a short blast of 5 questions at the beginning of each section. And then we do it again at the end and just gauge, current state, future state. I'm going to take you to where you need to go, Dustin. I know you're on it. I know you're studying hard. I know you're bringing it. I know you're doing all that you can. Yeah, it's going to be that on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Come with your knowledge ammo. You're really going to learn a lot. And you're also going to find stuff that you already knew and stuff that you didn't know. But it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm going to be asking questions, of course, as we go along. There's no one is ever spared. I ask questions a lot. I ask you questions to make sure you really know what's happening. Even if there are 20 people in the class, each person gets their own question. So Shree's testifying to that. But I appreciate you guys. She said he's tough. He's a case, isn't he? I call Shree out without mercy or repentance. Shree can testify to that. But I know Shree's always going to bring it. That's why a lot of times when I call on her, it's because I know she's going to bring it. So, folks, that's the story. I've just been trying to give you the story here of what to do after the boot camp and the summary. If you have taken a PMP exam boot camp, if you're hearing the sound of my voice, I am challenging you to get on down to that local bookstore, get a notebook, hardcover notebook. Don't go for those flimsy ones. No. Hardcover notebook. I want you to become an investigator. I want you to go through every one of the 49 I need you to know the process name code. Don't give me those namby-pamby. Oh, I think it's developed WBS. No, no, no. Pinpoint precise. Anyone who's been on this journey for a month and doesn't know the names, ice cold, you're not ready. And you should be held accountable. What are you doing? Know your process names, all right? Process description. Some of you just say, oh, the charter is used to authorize the project. Do you think that's enough? No, it's not. You have not become a prof. I need you to become the Einstein of the PMBOK guy. That's what I need. I need you to become an Einstein of this thing. Let me read some of the hidden mysteries in Develop Project Charter that some people haven't noticed because they haven't read the book. They're like, well, my instructor said I should just read the study guide. Forget that instructor. That instructor needs to be dropped like a ton of bricks. That's yesterday. Take a look at page 75. It says, Develop Project Charter is the process of developing a document that formally authorizes the existence of a project and provides the project manager with authority to apply organizational resources to project activity. That's good. But did you know that it said the key benefits of this process is that it provides a direct link between the project and the strategic objectives of the organization? So if you're asked which process provides a direct link between the project and strategic objectives, you should know that it's the project charter. You see it, but it's hidden. So the benefits, I want to challenge you, the benefits, all the benefits for every process, if you don't know it, you're not there. Okay, you got to know that. And then forget about the tools and techniques for now. Go to page 77. My goodness, what a wall of text is this? It says, the project charter establishes a partnership. Who would have ever used the word partnership where the charter is concerned? But it does say partnership between the performing and requesting organizations. It didn't say a contract. You see how words could be used to substitute others, and you'd be like, well, it didn't say contract. No, no, no. Partnership. No one is saying the charter is a contract, but partnership could be misconstrued. You see why you have to read between the lines? And then it says a project charter may still be used to establish. Now, if I skip the next word, it says agreements, but it says internal agreements. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of hidden detail. I could go on and on, if not that I'm running out of time, folks. But there's a lot of hidden detail in the PMBOK guide. And that's why I want you to get process name, process description. Watch this. I said in detail, okay? You got to be a junkie to get the detail. Every last spec. You got to be like, wait, I didn't get that last spec. You got to be a junkie, seriously. Process benefits. Know your process benefits and all of those major outputs and the unique tools and techniques. Some tools and techniques are very unique. Product analysis, decomposition, problem solving, assessment of other risk parameters, which is under something else. All of that stuff, folks, you got to know it cold. Seriously. Leave no stone unturned. If you woke up in the middle of the night and you found that your knowledge about a tool and technique had gone, you need to be concerned. You need to be like, where are my tools and techniques? Where did they go? That's how you need to be. You need to be concerned, okay? Like a junkie looking for their fixes. You got to be concerned, okay? So I want to challenge you. Your little notebook, the 49 processes, okay, let me give you an idea before I go of some of the orders that you can study this stuff in, okay? Don't study in order, okay? Study out of order. And by out of order, I mean something like this, okay? How about studying Develop Project Charter, Develop Project Management Plan, looks like an AOA. Then go to Direct and Manage Project Work. You see, this is not necessarily in the expected order, is it? And then, you know what I want you to do? You know, I'm following the PMBOK mainline. Study in the PMBOK mainline way. Go to control quality, link that up with validate scope, okay? Then throw in perform integrated change control. You see that? Got a bug who is a PMP junkie, I think. And then go to, you can go to control procurements, for example. And then you can start adding on stuff that is not necessarily in this vein, or you could go from here to close project or phase. Okay. You could go from here to any of the controlling processes because they're linkages. You can go from there to control schedule, control quality. You see that? Out of order, but in some way, you know, that makes sense. Both of these into where? Monitor and control project work. You see, the way I'm linking them is by virtue of their outputs. Develop project charter, and I'll just annotate for you really quick. I need to be jumping off this bus pretty quick here. I've got something else coming up. But here, develop project charter gives you project charter that goes in there. Develop project management plan gives you a project management plan that goes in here. This gives you deliverables, which get reviewed here, become verified deliverables, become accepted deliverables, and goes here. From here, we get change requests that could go here. And close project or phase is in integration, not necessarily any link in that fashion. And it doesn't have to be. But then this gives you WPD, work performance data goes here and here. Control schedule and control, I believe that was meant to be control cost. So control cost, this should be control cost. Oh dear, a lot of bugs coming to play games tonight. Let me finish this before they run this over. Control cost, this gives you cost forecast, this gives you schedule forecast, and they both go in here. You see, when you know these logical orders, use these logical orders to create a pattern, a tapestry, a web of studying that is not necessarily in order, okay? And it makes it more interesting, it spices things up, it helps you see how one process is related to another, okay? And I want you to do that again for all of the 49. Now, in processes where you have formulas, I want you to go all out. Don't tell me, oh, I'm just going to do earned value. I'm not going to do ETC and EAC. That's forecasting. You need to do it. I want you to go the full throttle, ram that pedal down, pedal to metal, folks. Do it all 49, all the 49. I want you to go from end to end. Don't cut corners. Even the ones people say, oh, that's not really important. Like someone would say, oh, that's just a tiny little one. Implement risk responses. It's not a little one. Go the same length, leave no stone unturned, turn all the pages over. All right, folks, I'm sorry for the dash, but I really have got to run. Are there any last 1 minute or 1 second questions before I hop off? Thank you, Dustin. Any questions on YouTube, my friends? Any questions or concerns or comments about how your studying is coming along? I see one of our friends. Hey, Daryl, what's going on, Daryl? What's going on? I hope you, thank you, Daryl. I'm glad you like the audio digest. Daryl, there were some assignments from last week. I don't know if you saw them on the learning system, but we've got an assignment for last week, for Saturday, and for Wednesday. You got to go watch those videos, bro. Go watch them. Because in those videos, I give you a 1 hour mock exam that's new. This one, you haven't taken this one, but go into the virtual bank and please go in there and take it. All right. Yeah, boot camp is on Wednesday. Yeah. Um, do I need to attend 5 days boot camp? No. So what I would suggest, Jay, and this it really depends on where you are in the grand scheme of it, but I usually recommend for people to attend a boot camp, but attend a boot camp that is tailored to where you are. If you go for a boot camp such as the one coming up, and that's your first time going for a boot camp, you will find it hard to keep up. So the one Dustin is talking about on Wednesday, that is a manic paced boot camp. That is a boot camp. That is going to be pretty aggressive. So I would say if you've not been for any other boot camp, you want to go for a simplified boot camp. We're going to have a simplified boot camp starting next year, early next year, January. We're going to be making the announcement soon, but we just came off the heels of one of those on Saturday. So we're going to have another one starting up in the new year. If you wanted to come for one of those, you could. But we also have online a 35-hour self-paced boot camp, which is not a bad one to attend. I think it might be time for me to dash. Give me a second, folks. I'll be right back. I think I've got a stakeholder that's requiring my attention. Let me put on my glasses and see. Okay. Anyone who you could affect is a stakeholder. Anyone your life could affect. Um, so Jay, yeah, I would suggest taking a look at the Praizion site, like I showed. Let me go back there for a second. There's all sorts of flavors of things you could do, Jay. So over here, you can see this is how did I get here? Under training, PMP, go for this one, PMP and CAPM online self-study. Hit that, takes you to this page. You can sign up for anywhere from 1 week to 6 month access. For newbies, highly recommend maybe starting off with this. Get some base knowledge first, get some knowledge into your head. Some people go for an all-out 1 week boot camp and get the knowledge in that way, like fire mode. And that's okay. But after you get this, the next thing I would recommend is to go to the pmsucceed.com site, which is still a Praizion site, but it has a different flavor of training. It has a live online flavor. So if you go to Power Review, that will show you those that are very, very quick, accelerated, rapid. Or if you just stay on this page and read, and then go to schedule, when the schedule is updated, you'll see a new opportunity. So right now, this one was actually moved into January. So at the moment, we're still going to redo this and show the next schedule, which is early January. I would recommend that after you have maybe done this one. Okay, so I recommend online self-study just to get proficient and good with the stuff. And then you could come to the live training, online live. Alternatively, if you sign up for online live way in advance, like when we make the schedule available in a couple of days, if you were to sign up then and get access to the learning system, you could watch all those videos like 2 or 3 weeks before the boot camp. And then when you're coming into the boot camp, you would have already watched all that stuff. So however you want to slice and dice it, you know, we're open to helping students digest the material, um, whichever way it works for them. Okay. All right, folks. Well, that's it. If there are any additional questions, don't be a stranger. Just chat them into the channel. Be very happy to help you in that regard. Oh, I think Devon is trying to help you. Thank you, Sri. Sri says Phil's camp is really good. I recommend to attend his live session if you can. Look, attend the session. Look, I don't know what you're doing. Are you seriously going to another boot camp? Seriously? After all the stuff I'm dumping on this channel, you think you can get value like this elsewhere? No, you can't. How many people are dropping videos for you and having sessions like this for nothing? Very few. They're busy, I don't know, eating oysters somewhere on a beach while I'm here slamming it, bringing it, killing it for you, trying to give you energy and motivation so that you can help your nation get PMP certified. You'll be amazed. I'm helping my nation. I'm helping the folks who are trying to keep it real for us. I'm helping those in the armed forces, or friends in the army, or friends in the Air Force. That's what I'm doing, you see. But if you get PMP certified, think about it. You could do tremendous things. One of our students, Sachi Guns, he's out of India, I believe, and he's with the military, but he's now a PMP. Of course, he's bringing it over there. Of course, he's bringing these ideas and planning whatever needs to be planned for those guys and helping them keep it real, you know? So being PMP certified is more than just having a certificate. For me, it's a commitment to quality. It's a commitment to excellence. That's what it is. So I want to challenge you. Go to the next level, get certified, and then help your company, help your country, help people. Help people, seriously. A lot of people wasting money on projects. I'm like, oh my goodness, if only there was someone who knew how to keep it straight for them, you know? All right, I'm going to get off my soapbox. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you on another one of these. It's just that I've got to run a little bit tonight. I've got some to take care of, but I appreciate you. Thank you very much for joining. And I wish you all the best in your PMP exam prep. Don't forget, go to Praizion.com and sign up for the training there. And if you have any questions, just shoot them to us, okay? Thank you very much and have a great rest of your night or day. Bye for now.